Moin Moin and welcome to Ralfs Foto-Bude. Yeah, today I want to show you the Pentax K-3. It's a DSLR with an APS-C sensor, 24 megapixel. The camera, the size of the body is a little bit smaller compared to a Canon EOS 70D. It's not so high and not so wide like the Canon. But even if you have bigger hands like mine, you can hold the camera very good because the grip is formed very well and the surface of the grip has a very good structure, so you can hold the camera very good in your hand. I like this one very much. I like the grip, the form of the grip very much. The body of the camera is sealed, so it's sealed against splash water and dust. One thing of the Pentax K-3, in my opinion, it's a camera for the professional photographers and for photographers who know what they do, because the Pentax has no scene programs. You only have the usual programs I show you later. There are some special programs, but you don't have any scene programs. But the camera is built for the needs of a photographer, because the most important functions of the camera you can reach with one button, and then you have only to turn the dial to change between the settings. So it's like a direct mode for the most important settings, and this is one thing I like very much. And there are some special settings in the menus. I will show you later the menu. There are some special settings which help you to customize the camera, the K3, very good for your needs. So let's have a look to the buttons of the camera, the buttons and the dials, to give you an overview, which I said before, which functions you can reach directly. Starting on the side of the camera, we have the lever to change between the autofocus and manual focus mode. Then you have the button, when you press the button you can change with the dial the different autofocus mode. I will give you later on a little overview about the different autofocus mode and how they work in the live view mode and in the normal mode. The button here you can press and you can change directly between RAW and JPEG mode, so you don't have to go into the menus. If you usually work with JPEG and you see a scene where you said, oh, this is such a good scene, I want to get it in RAW mode for post-production, then just press the button and the camera changes immediately between RAW and JPEG mode. And here we have the small button to release the built-in flash. Let's have a look to the connectors. Here you can put in a headphone, microphone, and here behind this one you have the USB, then you have HDMI and the DC connector to provide power to the camera. Let's have a look on top of the camera. On the side we have the big program dial. I will show you later which programs you have at the K3. We have here a lock. This is one of the things professional photographers love very much, because when you see I can't turn the dial now, it's locked. You have to press the button in the middle. You see here's a button in the middle. Can turn the camera a little bit, then it's a little bit better to see. I have to press the button to turn the dial. If I don't want this, I can unlock the camera, the dial of the camera like this, and then the button, the dial runs free. And these are small things, but these small things are the things which real photographers like, because they give you more control over your camera. Then on the front we have a dial number 1, and on the back side we have dial number 2. Then you have the shutter release, the on-off switch. You see the light of the top display. If you press the button here, the light on the top display starts immediately. So that's one real nice feature. You don't have to press an extra button to get the light for the top display. Here you have the exposure correction button. Then you have the ISO button here. Yeah, and on the back side we have the big display, The display is no touch screen, and it's not a display which you can turn, so it's a fixed display, but has a very good resolution, and one thing I like on the Pentax, the display is you see on the display the most important settings very clear, and it's a little bit the important settings are a little bit larger, so you can see it on the first view. I like this very much because some of the displays from other cameras, everything has the same size, and if you want to see the most important things very quick for a quick check, you search on the display, and you sometimes I get lost on the displays. Okay, so then on the back side we have some more buttons. We have the replay button, then we have the button to change between the different metering modes, we have the button for the live view. Here we go to the live view, and in the video mode you can start a video here. Then we have the second dial, as I said before. Then we have the autofocus button here. We have the exposure lock button on the side. This one is a real nice thing. They can set some of the functions of the camera to standard mode. Just press the button, and like ISO setting goes to the standard mode. So if you get lost, or if you want to go from high ISO directly to auto ISO, just press the button and you are in auto ISO mode. I have to change it here because I want to show you the color of the display when you're in program mode, because one real good thing is if you press like the ISO button to change the ISO setting, the ISO field gets highlighted, so you see very clear and directly which function you are change. So these are small things, but I worked now for about 3 weeks with the K3, and you get used to this function very fast, and you like these functions because they in the fast. When you don't have much time for taking pictures, and you're in a hurry and you have to get the picture and you have to change the settings, this is a real good help to see which setting you are change. So this is one of the things professionals like at the K3, or I like at the K3, and for me it's a plus against some other cameras where the display and the different settings are not so clear and not so sophisticated like at the K3. Then we have the button to change, or the lever to change between photo and video mode. So if you go to the video mode, the camera goes in the live view mode and in the 16:9 format you see here. Then you have the 4-way button here, or the 4 buttons around the OK button, where you can change. On the top you change the different continuous shooting modes and self-timer and stuff like that. On the left side you have the white balance button, where you can set the different white balance. Even you can put the Kelvin value directly if you want to. So let's go to auto white balance. Here you have the different flash modes, and on this side you have the different color setting or picture settings: neutral, portrait, landscape, vibrant, radiant, muted, bleach, bypass, reversal, monochrome, cross-processing, and bright. And if you see here, it says info parameter adjustment. That's always the same. If you want to adjust a certain point in the camera, press the info button, and then you get deeper into the different individual parameters. I can show you here. I like the black and white mode, and if you press the info button, you see you can change the filter effects. You have different filter effects from green, yellow, red. So if you take portraits, you go to green, and if you go to outdoors with blue sky, just yellow or orange or red, depends on the intensity of the blue sky. So you set the different parameters. Next point is the toning. You see, you can change here from blue or a little bit brownish toning, high key, low key adjustment, contrast, and sharpness. Exactly the same in the in the color settings. Go to the info button and you see you have the saturation, and then you have the toning, high key, low key, contrast, and sharpness. So that's very easy, and if you know this, you can do this exactly the same in the white balance. Just go to the white balance, and if you go to the like the Kelvin setting here, just go down, press the info button, and you're directly in the mode where you can change the Kelvin value and the color. And you see here there's the small sign says that you can use the two dials to change the Kelvin value. Just turn the dial and you change the Kelvin value. To change the color point, individual color point, just move the green point here with the forward button and you can change it. So the camera works. If you once understand how the camera works and how the settings work, you will every time remember this, because it's so easy and it's always the same. So that's what I said before. Professional photographers like this, like like it when it's every time exactly the same. So you don't have to think, how was it? No, you know, I press ISO and then I go in the individual setting, and when you press ISO, you on every point you get the if you press info, you get the individual setting. So let's have a look in the different program modes you have at the K3. You have the program mode, that's the normal program mode, and if you see, you have the shutter speed and the aperture, and you can override it just by turning the front dial. Then you change the time value, or if I press it again, you can go to the back dial and you override the aperture value. So that's a very nice thing, because usually you only can change the aperture and shutter speed both, but in the at the K3, if you're in program mode, you can change individually aperture or shutter speed. Next point on the camera is SV. That's the sensitivity priority. Sensitivity priority, you can change the ISO setting just by turning the dial, and aperture and shutter speed the camera will automatically set. So I mean, it's a little bit like program mode, because in the program mode you just can press the ISO button and change the ISO setting, but this way it's a little bit more comfortable, because you don't have to press any button, just turn the dial and change the ISO setting. It's a little bit faster, and again, one thing for the professional photographer, and the thing a professional photographer like very much. Next point is shutter priority. I don't think I have to explain how this will work. You see, here is the dial for the shutter priority, for the shutter speed. So if you turn the front dial, you see, turn the front dial, you see you can change the shutter speed. Next point is aperture priority, exactly the same. Just turn the back dial and you change the aperture. Next point, and that's a very nice one, is the point where you can set shutter speed and aperture, and the camera will automatically set the ISO. So you can say I want to go for like 200s, and I want to go to like 4.0, and the camera will set the ISO setting for this for the settings of this. So if you're outside and like making sport photography, and you need a fast shutter speed, but also you want to have a little bit more depth of field and work with a aperture of like 4.0, 5.6, the camera will automatically set the right ISO setting. You don't have to care about that the camera changes the depth of field or something like that. So I like this one very much because if you know how the picture quality is in the different ISO settings, you can use this one very good, because I know the depth of field and I know the shutter speed I know I want to have, and set both of it, and the camera will give you the ISO value automatically. Next point on the dial is M, is manual, and I released the lock here, it's a little bit easier. And if you're in manual mode, for sure you can change the aperture and the shutter speed. Next point is, here we are, is bulb. That's the long time exposure. Then we have the flash sync. Next point, there are U3, 2 and 1. These are the different user settings you have. And the only automatic mode is the green mode, where the camera makes all the settings by herself. But that's the only thing. You don't have scene programs like portrait, sport, landscape or stuff like that. You only have the green mode, but no individual scene programs. So that's one very important thing you have to know, and that's why I said it before. It's more for the professional photographers who know what to do. So let's go to the P mode, and I give you a quick overview of the menu of the K3. So if you press the menu button, it's very easy structured. In the menu you have the top points here, and then you have the different points or the different settings here. Just turn the dial and you go from point to point. It's very easy. And here we have the custom settings. So let's start at the first menu. You have the different memory card options. As I said before, you have two memory cards or two SD cards. So you have the different options, and here is the option for RAW and JPEG on 2 cards. So that's the one most of the professionals, I think, will use. Then you have the image capture settings, JPEG, large, and the quality, and the different RAW settings. Then we go to the autofocus assist light, digital filters. Here we have some digital filters. It starts with an extract color, then toy camera, retro style, high contrast, shading, invert color, unicolor bold, and bold monochrome. That's the one I like most. So these are the different filters you can use. Then you have HDR, an HDR option, and lens correction for lenses, where the lens correction works. Not the old lenses, you won't get a lens correction, but for the newer lenses you can automatical lens correction. Next point is the derange setting. You have different derange setting for highlight and shadow correction. Then you have the ISO setting for auto ISO. You can set the low and the high ISO, and one very nice thing, you can set how in the auto ISO the the setting is, or I don't know how to explain it in English very good, but you can choose between slow, normal, and fast. So the camera in the ISO setting, if you use the different auto ISO settings, the camera will change the ISO value not faster, but it depends on the shutter speed. So if you use slow, the shutter speed can be a little bit lower before the ISO increases, and if you have fast, the ISO increases faster to get a fast shutter speed. So that's very nice if you're going for landscape or for sport. You can set out an ISO, and it depends on the scene, on sports or landscape. You have to go for slow or for fast. So that's a real nice feature, because usually you have a certain curve where the ISO setting increases and step by step, depending on the aperture and the shutter speed, and here you can set it a little bit different. You can set the curve individual. So high ISO noise reduction, slow shutter speed noise reduction, program line, and that's exactly the same for the program line. What you have for the ISO auto setting, you have here the different program lines, depends on the scene you take. You have the normal, and then you have sport, portrait, or you have the auto setting. It's exactly the same like in the auto ISO setting. You have different curves where the shutter speed and the aperture increases or decreases, depends on the scene you have. If you have sport, you need faster speed. Then the camera sets the shutter speed a little bit faster up. Or you have portrait, and then the aperture is more important. So again, a nice feature. Professionals will like this one very much. GPS, you need an extra GPS module. Then you have the different settings of the live view mode. You have the electronic lever display I showed you before, horizon correction, anti-alias filter simulator. I have to explain what this means. The K3 doesn't have a low pass filter, so if you have real fine structures, you have the problem with moire, and the K3 has a low pass simulator, or low pass filter simulator. What happens? You have a shake reduction system here in the camera, and the shake reduction system works with the sensor, so it's not a lens-based shake reduction system. It's a sensor-based shake reduction system. And what happens if you use the electronic anti-alias filter? The sensor moves very, very minor, and hopefully gets a correction of the moire. You have different settings, so you should use different. You should try the different settings if you get a moire. Usually you don't get moire. It's very few or very seldom that you have moires. But if you have, you can try the filter, and maybe, or it should work. Why they don't use a low pass filter? The reason is, if you don't use a low pass filter, the picture quality is very, very good. You get real perfect sharpness. You get real detailed pictures compared to a camera with a low pass filter. So then we have the shake reduction, as said before. Input focal length, if you use old lenses, you can set there the focal length of the lens. Instant review, digital preview, you can make different settings here for the preview, what you want to see in the preview. Then you have the e-dial programming. These are the different settings of the program dials. So you have a lot of settings you can change. There's a lot to do to customize the camera. Also for the buttons, you can also customize the raw JPEG button. There are different settings, so yeah, the customization level of the camera is very high. Memory safe user mode, that's what I showed you before. You have the different settings, U1, 2 and 3, where you can save the different user modes. Next point is the movie mode. Here you have different exposure settings from program mode to AV, TV and manual setting. Then you have also again the memory card options. You have the movie capture settings, and here we have the setting between Full HD 1920 1080 or the small HD setting 1280 to 720 pixel. And in the Full HD you have the frame rate of 60i, that's the fastest. You don't have 60p in the Full HD mode. Let's see, I'm not quite sure. Yes, if you go to the small HD mode, the fastest frame rate then is 60p, but not 60p in Full HD mode. Go back to Full HD mode, and then we have 60i. Recording sound like full digital filter showed you before, and movie shake reduction again. So next point is the replay. I don't think I have to explain the replay modes. And then we have the different settings. I can go quick to the standard settings because these are mostly the same like all other cameras have. Where you can set the basic settings of the camera. Next point now, the customized settings, and here you have really a lot of interesting points where you can customize again the camera bracketing order, and so on and so on. I don't want to bother you with all the explanations of all the points, but you see there are a lot of points where you can customize the camera. One very important thing is the AFS setting, where you can set focus priority or release priority. I think this is one very important point to know. You have the color space and so on and so on. As I said before, very professional. There are a lot of points to explain. So one thing I should show you is the other different focus modes. When the lever is on autofocus and you press the autofocus mode, you have the different settings of the autofocus mode. SEL, that's a single point which you can move around, also you can move the focus point. Then you have the spot. Then you have the auto, and you have the 9 field, and you can move the 9 field here like this. Okay, and if you're in the single, you can move this point too. At a certain point you want to have the focus. To change between the autofocus mode and the 4-way button mode, it's very easy. Just press the button here. If you press the button, the display says it, and then you're in the 4-way button mode where you can change the settings of white balance and so on. And back again, just press once and you're in the focus mode. So I think that's very simple, that's very easy to recognize, easy to know. So as I said before, for professional users, very good, because the most of the function you can reach directly or just by change here to change between focus mode and the 4-way buttons. If you're in the live view, just show you before I changed to the manual mode. If you're in the live view mode, you also can move the focus point. Just press again and you see you have the area where you can move the focus point. Just put it here and you see you can move the focus point anywhere you want to. Okay, if you press here again, if you press the green button, the focus point goes in the middle of in the center of the scene. So that's, you see here, green button, center of the scene. Okay, and here we are. If you're in the manual focus mode, here, and you use the live view, you will see we have the focus peaking. Let's go here, and if I go, you see here we have the focus peaking here in the back side. Here you see the focus peaking. The white line shows you that you're in focus, and you can go to the magnification up to 10 times. You see here we are, magnification 10 times. So yeah, manual focus on the screen on the live view is also very easy. Yeah, going back to the autofocus mode. One thing I can show you here are the different continuous shooting modes. Okay, back out, go out of the live view, and then it's a little bit better to see. You have the single frame shooting, you have different continuous shooting, you have 3 different speed, low, medium and high. Then you have the self timer, remote control, exposure bracketing. It's very easy to change it. Just go down and you see you have the different settings here on the back side. You have the exposure setting, and on the front dial you can change between 5 images, 2 images or 3 images. Here we are, 3 images. So again, very easy, back dial, front dial, and on the camera here and here the signs says what to do, and so it's very easy to know, okay, I have to change here the number of the images, and I have here to change the exposure value. Okay, so let's go up. Then we have mirror up, then we have multi-exposure, interval shooting and interval composite. Interval shooting is for stop motion videos or stuff like that. So you can set an interval and how many pictures the camera should do. White balance, I showed you before. You have the different white balance settings, including the individual Kelvin setting of the camera. Here we have the different picture style I showed you before. Yeah, and that's it. These are the most important functions of the K3. I think this is a real good camera, as I said before, for professionals who know what to do, because it's downgraded to the most important things you need. But the camera does very professional and very direct. So the work with the camera, as I said before, 3 weeks I work now with the K3. I can do everything very fast, very direct. I don't have to think about it. On some cameras, when I use some other cameras, I have to think, how can I change the autofocus field? How can I change this or that? At the K3, in my opinion, everything works very direct, very clear, very simple, and you have all the functions directly on the buttons, and that's one thing I like very much. Talking about the picture quality, the 24 megapixel gives you a real good picture quality up to a very high ISO level. I would say like 3200, 6400, you get real good picture quality. The highest ISO setting is 51200. The shortest shutter release time is 1/8000th of a second. Again, picture quality in my opinion is really good. One point is the missing low pass filter, so the pictures are real detailed and show very fine details. If you go to my Flickr account, you will see I have taken some pictures in the morning with frost on some grass halms, and it looks very clear, very crisp. So in the K3 gives you real good picture quality, and also up to a higher ISO level. Yeah, what else can I say about the K3? As I said before, the body is sealed against dust and splash water. I personally like the lenses, the limited lenses. I like them very much. They are not as fast as the new lenses talking about autofocus, but the picture quality of the limited lenses is very good. And I like to work with the macro lens or the 70mm for portrait shooting. Yeah, very good lenses for the K3. Yeah, that's my overview. I hope I didn't miss something, but I can make individual videos to certain points of the camera. If you have questions, don't hesitate. Write it on a comment under the video, and I try to make some more special videos to special points if you have questions about the Pentax K3. For me, a very nice camera. I like this one very much. It's a little bit out of the mainstream of Nikon and Canon, but that's not bad. I think that's really good. Yeah, so that's it of the Pentax K3. Hope you like my review and my overview of the K3. Come back on my YouTube channel. There are much more videos to view. There will come some new videos in the next few days from other manufacturers. I will show you the new Nikon D610. So come back, enjoy my videos, have some fun, and till now I say moin moin and bye bye.